It's Movie Time.
Yeah.
It's produced by John DeSanto. Listen to the shows and read reviews online, wcbe.org.
I'm John DeSanto,
I'm Audrey Harkinen.
and this is it's movie time. Audrey, Asians are all over the place. I mean, this is in our culture. We're maybe starting with this year starting with everywhere all at once. But before that, Joy Luck Club and particularly Crazy Rich Asians.
Yes.
It's been good. So now we have something called Joyride. What the heck is this?
Joyride.
So give it just a brief.
Okay. Well, I have to say that I know why you chose me to do this, because not many main characters are named Audrey. So thank you so very much
That's
for the
right.
recognition.
That's right.
I really enjoyed the New York Times renaming of the film's genre from a rom-com to a raunch-com. I think it's so apropos and it is so appropriate. It's a nonstop slapstick juvenile humor film, including fart jokes and butt jokes and barf jokes and boob jokes. Goes on and on and on. It's a road trip.
Yeah.
So it's fast, it's very colorful, but it's also very, very predictable.
Yeah, and there are four Asian American ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody who's actually born in China, but most of them born here.
Yes.
And we even have some, like your Audrey, who know very little Mandarin. I think
Yes.
she needs her friend Lola to come with her when they go across the pond, because she's an attorney.
Yes. Yes. So with the road trip scenario here, we've got four archetype characters.
Yes.
We've got the brainy one, we've got the wacky one, we've got the sexy one, and we've got the geek.
Yes.
And there they all are. And so the script writes itself out.
It does.
That. It really does. The craziness and insanity ensues, and each one of the characters has their unique moment.
You know, Audrey, you're making a point that I find very amusing about this, is that we Americans have stereotypes about Asians.
Yes.
And for instance, give me a stereotype.
A physician. They're a physician. A radiologist. Something. Yeah.
That's good. Asian women. What's our stereotype?
They work in an Asian restaurant, and they're a cook.
And as far as family goes?
Everybody works for the family restaurant. Everybody works there.
And they have been up until the point where we kind of redesigned them in our stereotyping, pretty much in the background.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But also the Asian men have been ineffectual up to this point. Have they not? I mean, they're kind of, we've seen them as weak. I think that our stereotype of them.
The stereotype.
Yeah.
My experience from healthcare is that there are a lot of Asian people in general.
Yes.
That's why I said doctor right away.
Yeah, right.
But other than that profession,
Right.
I think that you're right. That stereotype is they're very background and inhabitants.
Yeah. And now Joyride takes it and just flips that baby.
Yep.
And for instance, what breaks the stereotype in Joyride?
They cuss and swear, and their sense of humor is very potty-like, just very potty-like.
And I think particularly when they go over to Asia, the Asian men they meet are not like the Asian men that we are used to.
Correct.
I mean, they
That's
have
correct.
got these hunky guys, and
Yes.
and all kinds of, even down to threesomes and so on. It's just all not what we expected from the reserved stereotype that we have falsely had.
Yes.
You know, we're not proud of that, but that's where we.
That's the way it's been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these women are fully taking advantage of their new found freedom,
Yes.
and so they're looking pretty good now. The one, as you look at it, you and I were talking about this, it's almost worth seeing twice so that you can get the richness of all the characters.
Right.
Because Adele Lin,
Yes.
the director, was also the writer of Crazy Rich Asians.
That is correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
And so she's taken that, and she's taken this bull by the horns, and she has given us something that's not stereotypical.
Yes, she is reimagining the Asian life in such a way that it's very informative, and it's very refreshing that she's doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the actresses here are just terrific. Sherry Cola as Lolo.
Yes.
A bit of the ordinary, the kind of the clownish sidekick.
The wacky one.
The wacky one.
The
right.
wacky one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, let me see, give me, oh yes, Manazi Janu. No, I know I want. Sabrina Wu as Deadeye.
Yes.
How do you figure Deadeye in this?
This is a very, this is a stereotypical version of what we see, but this is a K-pop fan. This is absolutely K-pop fan, and she plays that part tremendously.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
She doesn't dominate. She has the chance really to be the most important character here.
Yeah.
And she plays it very nicely.
She's very understated.
And am I right? She's trans?
That's the impression.
Yes.
That is the
That's
impression that you get.
Because as we were talking about how everything turns out,
Yeah.
she's able to fit in with that. But that is the interesting,
Right.
and how they play that very carefully.
Right. Right.
Um,
Well, the androgyny of the K-pop culture too, which I don't know whether you have seen some of the bands and some of the films coming out of Asia and some of the dramas that come out of Asia, but one of the things that is noticeable to me is, especially with the men, everything looks very androgynous to me. That women and men will wear makeup and have long flowing hair. Young women will have buzz cuts and they wear no makeup. So yeah, very much a part of the culture.
there are some pretty raunchy parts of this.
Pretty raunchy.
Now Lolo sculpts, or she has little figures.
Yes.
What did I get? She has sculptured physiques.
Yes. Yes. Oh my goodness.
And they do resolve themselves toward the end.
Okay.
Toward the end, we see that they actually fit in to the whole narrative.
Okay,
But these are
okay.
the oddest looking little sculptures
Yeah,
you've
yeah.
ever saw.
It supposedly it replicates their playground that they played in as children.
Good, yes.
But the figures are a little bit X-rated.
Now, Audrey, I'm going to test you. Do you remember a Cheetos section here? Maybe not.
Yes, I do remember the Cheetos. One person eating with fingers, the other with the chopsticks.
With chopsticks,
Yes.
eating the super hot Cheetos.
Yes, yes. That was these little nuggets are so very, very clever. Yes, I have to agree.
If we looked at it thematically, kind of pull all this
Right.
craziness together, what's the film really about?
I think we're talking about a classic road film or a road trip film where there is some there is some difficulty early on. There's lost tickets, lost luggage. There is robbery. In this case, there's a cocaine issue.
Oh my, it's a terrific scene.
Yes, yes.
Oh, in the train.
Right, and so the sort of ordinary travel or adventure turns into chaos, and that's a typical scenario for the road trip.
Yes.
And so all of these adventures can occur, which wouldn't if they had stayed on their train and ended in their destination. So I think that the road trip component of it is very, very important to bring out the characters.
And in the end, what does this do for them?
Well, each one of them went on, as typical of a road trip, there is a self-discovery. There's most importantly, through all of these trials and tribulations and all these mishaps, there's self-discovery.
And about friendship.
There's bonding over these trials and tribulations,
Yeah.
and that is so very typical of the road trip.
Yes, right, and this, we don't exclude anybody in that scenario, that everybody who goes through this ritual and this kind of cliched
Yes,
setup
yes,
inevitably ends up closer,
yes,
bonding, and that's what I like. It makes it very human and non-Asian, non-American, just simply human beings on a trip together with all that you have mentioned, plus all the craziness that comes in the end. They find out they're friends.
right, right. I was reminded of a road trip, although the critics are talking about Bridesmaids, which I don't see. I really
In the
don't-
raunch.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's-
isn't Seth Rogen a producer?
Yes, that is
Yeah.
true, that is true.
Yeah.
But the road trip that I saw the most similarities, believe it or not, was from 1985, an original Kevin Costner film called Fandango,
Oh, my
where
Lord.
these four guys graduate from college, and then they go on a road trip to find it. It's a treasure.
Oh
But
my,
it's
well, I like that.
yeah, yeah, and instead of the brainy one being the mastermind of this, it's the wacky one who is Kevin Costner, and he's just all over the place.
Yeah.
And they end up in an old crop dusting plane and all sorts of craziness. But
Yeah.
that's the kind of road trip that I think that this is most akin to.
All right, Audrey Harkonnen. The film is called Joyride. And if people want to hear more of our blather, and I can't believe that would be possible, but if they do, they can go to our podcast on the WCVE podcast experience to Backtalk.
Yes,
Gotta
sir.
make sure I get it right. Yeah, we're in it's movie time and to Backtalk. Audrey, what do you recommend?
If I were to give it stars, I wouldn't give it any stars, but I would give it equal measure of cringes and giggles. That's what I would do.
As far as the family goes,
No family. No. This is definitely an adult film.
it is. It's for
It's-
mom and dad.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is not for the kids, but it is
Yeah.
sure is a funny film.
It's a giggle for mom and dad. Yes.
It's called Joyride.
Joyride.